February 23, 2024. Hope you're all doing well. I've had some computer problems today. I hope everything is sorted out. We'll see. Linty London, check rock stars. Hey, check. Andrew Cruz, Wonder Why, Donna Davidson, Mike Luft, hello, and Sherry Hughes. Thank you very, very much. Marty Lauderdale, thank you very, very much. And T. Lamb, if T. Lamb shows up, thank you for that video you sent me just a little while ago, which I'm going to play for everybody. So let's see who else is in the chat. Mike Luft and Donna Davidson. And Blues de Jours, Angelos, Alicia DeMoss and Silent Walk. Shauna Howard, hello. And Laura Larson, Ray Clay. Hi everybody. It is Friday. Boy, I used to really like Fridays, you know, the weekend off, but that was a very, very long time ago. We don't have any days off from what we're living. Cecilia Amarati, hello. Ezra, Michael, Wilson, Jay Northrup, Justin Wynn. Hi. Lynn Bowen, hello. All right, so I'm going to start with a little bit of show and tell. The wonderful Arizona sunrise this morning. And look at all of that black carbon dust just floating in the atmosphere. And, oh, right, it's been quite warm here. Very warm, actually. It's already, was it yesterday or 2 days ago that it was in the 80s, the low 80s. Now, I don't think that is normal for Arizona. Look at the microwaves also, the ripples. Evenly spaced what? Cloud? Evenly spaced black carbon dust. And I zoomed in on this because it looked like lattice work, but I may have zoomed in a little bit too close. And this was, I don't know, 2 mornings ago? Yeah, beautiful, isn't it? Sunrise, sunset. Something's wrong. Something's very wrong. Nothing like getting a little bit poisoned early in the morning. Now I'm also going to share this with you, which I found very odd. So, what was odd about this creation in this motorhome? The really strange thing was that there was a creation that I took down, and then I look over. I swear to you, it was like 2 days later. A massive creation again. Of what? There is no spiders in here. And this reminded me of what I caught on the back door of a subscriber's house in Kentucky. What is this thing? When I looked over and I saw what I had already scooped up in the vacuum cleaner, and I look over and I'm like, what? All right, so you see the very defined lines, and well, it looks like it has beads of light. Beads of light. What, pray tell, are we looking at? A 3. But it's almost also like it's being constructed by some, it's electric. Anybody want to take a stab at this? Now, I will say that there was a little bit of wind, and this thing obviously was very lightweight, so that's why you see a lot of it moving about. But do you see, there was also sun shining in particular spots, but I don't understand the beads of light. That's what is rather intriguing. Yeah, nanotech. I don't know. But I think we're finding very strange things. Very strange things indeed. This looks like a worm. Right here. Alrighty, well, that's my show and tell. Well, I don't know. But I didn't see any spiders. I didn't see any insects. I didn't see anything but little tiny specks of light and a creation that's all connected and almost worm-like structures, like here, that's working to build it. Fiber optic synthetic biology. Woof, man. All right. What can you say? Life is just, it has taken a turn, and, well, I never set this up. I apologize. Let me get this down. And one more. You can deal with me having to do work that I should have done before, but hey, I'm a little out of it. So, let's go with what we always start with. Weather, February to end with record-smashing warmth in Midwest and Eastern United States. Really? Well, I think we've been having record-smashing warmth in Arizona, but I'm not. I'm a transplant that's not been planted, so I don't know. Excuse me. But here, February. Ooh, boy. It's gonna be a hot one. Certainly for Texas, South Texas, East Coast, New Mexico, and right on up. Look at this. This is a weird heat pattern. Okay, I'm going to recommend that you check out Under Sphere, this channel, because they do capture an awful lot of weather from all over the world. So the link to the channel is in the chat. They do a good job of covering what needs to be seen. So, here, this Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, floods.
20-year-old Marcos Vinicius, hailed as a hero, rescued a mother and her daughters from a flooded car during a storm in Nova Iguaçu.
Tem outra criança? Meu Deus, são duas crianças!
His brave act, captured in a widely circulated video, has earned him recognition as a new Brazilian hero. Videos went viral on social media, showing the moment he rushed to help just before the vehicle was swallowed by the waters.
Meu Deus! Que isso, cara?
The recent storm in Rio de Janeiro resulted in flooding, landslides, and 3 fatalities. In Baixada Fluminense, where flooding is a chronic issue,
Agora que o cara vai mexer.
residents living near the Botes River, which flows through cities like Nova Iguaçu and Belford Roxo, bear the brunt of the impact. Although river overflow is not uncommon in this region, it persistently leads to tragedies and inundates entire neighborhoods.
Meu Deus!
O amigo tá desesperado já, ó.
This kind of flooding is going on a daily basis all over the world. And people aren't questioning it. And why does this water look green? Well, it's obviously very muddy, right? But it does look green. Anyway, what else do we have? We've got apocalypse in Ecuador.
Así está la cascada ahorita, así está la cascada. Crecidito la cascada.
At Chiandia quaked as the river surged, engulfing homes in its floodwaters, wreaking havoc along the Ecuadorian coast.
Oye, mira, la playita. Oye, ¿qué onda? Siga para arriba.
Playas Canton suffered the worst, its neighborhoods reduced to rubble amidst the unprecedented tempest. Secretary of Risk Management, George Kirillov Tudevin, attributed the chaos to the convergence of the rainy season's peak and the looming El Niño.
Go to Undersphere if you want to see all of the destruction in these places. Hello, L78 and T-Lam. Thank you to all of my moderators, and thank you to everyone who's showing up. Much appreciated. So, what else do we have? We've got unprecedented an F5 tornado in West Java? I don't think that's a real tornado hotspot.
The wrath of the Rankakek tornado. Bandung was thrust into chaos on February 21, 2024, when an unprecedented force of nature, an F5 tornado, swept through the region at 4 p.m. local time.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Astagfirullahaladzim. Ya Allah motor aing. Ya Allah motor. Ya Allah, Allah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Astagfirullah. Ya Allah, astagfirullahaladzim. Ya Allah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
The tempest, dubbed the Rankakek tornado, left devastation in its wake, ravaging areas spanning Bandung and Sumedang regencies.
Really? That looks like it could be Oklahoma or Nebraska or well, anywhere in the United States now. But look at the size of this. That's not a tornado. That is a manufactured bomb. Argentina hailstones, damaged cars and roofs.
Villa General Belgrano and Cerro Pelado experienced hailstorms, while Villa Ciudad de America and Potrero de Garay also reported hail. Alta Gracia faced torrential rain and stone showers. Rio Cuarto witnessed intense rainfall, leading to flooding, with 47 millimeters recorded in the city and 67 millimeters in rural areas.
Oh boy, so that was West Java, that was Argentina, that was Brazil, Ecuador, towns in Cumberland County. This is Maine. They're thinking of removing a road because it gets flooded too often.
Tonight, a road connecting the towns of Scarborough and Cape Elizabeth could soon be removed. Why? It keeps flooding. News Centering's Alex Haskell explains the project town officials say will save them money.
I think we can just look down the road here and we can see it's just deteriorating. The status quo really isn't something we can continue to maintain.
Dividing Spurwink Marsh is more than 1,000 feet of crumbling pavement, connecting Scarborough and Cape Elizabeth.
It's not doing so great as a road right now.
The road is low-lying. Add a rising sea into the mix, and you have yourself a flood problem. That's exactly what happened during last month's devastating storm, with history likely to repeat itself as the effects of climate change worsen. Town officials are asking themselves, rebuild the road or retreat from the marsh.
Maybe we elevate the road off the marsh, some kind of causeway. Well, now we're talking $10 million.
Money that could be used on heavier traveled roads, also impacted by a changing climate.
The traffic counts are pretty low. They're averaging about 1,000 trips a day. And maybe that seems high, but when you start looking at the traffic counts of the other more sustainable roads around us, it's pretty low.
Scarborough Town Councillor Karen Shoup says a grant has already been awarded to remove the road and restore the marsh. Shoup realizes some are concerned about losing the road.
This isn't an easy decision. This isn't a quick decision. We're not taking this lightly.
If the project moves forward, each town would pay $180,000 to build a turnaround at each end of the road.
Just leaving it the way it is not going to be an option for very long. So we're going to have to look at making a significant investment or really rethinking the status quo.
In Cape,
Wow, just put a lie out there and boom, they can get an awful lot of changes with people who believe the lies that bring about the changes. So they're just going to remove the road and put a turnaround on each side. Well, I don't think that's going to help the 1,000 who travel on this road. But hey, me stupid. Flood response. The flood victims in San Diego. You may get some federal assistance. No. If you don't have flood insurance with FEMA, if you get any kind of assistance, it ain't going to bring back your home.
It's been more than a month since the devastating January 22nd floods that hit many parts of San Diego. Community members are still trying to pick up the pieces of their lives, but now they can do that with some federal assistance. Leaders at all levels are encouraging flood victims to apply for federal assistance through FEMA. A presidential major disaster declaration for San Diego County was announced earlier this week. This after the city, county, and state all declared emergencies and requested federal assistance. Right now, you're taking a look at some of the hardest hit neighborhoods during that storm on January 22nd. While the federal assistance is not a substitute for insurance, the funds are intended to help meet the basic needs of flood victims and supplement disaster recovery efforts. I had the chance to sit down with Representative Juan Vargas. He tells me flood victims will know how much money they will be able to get about a week after applying. You said 7 to 10 days is what the timeline that they will know how much they will get. How much time do you know that it will take for them to actually receive those funds?
It's pretty quick. I mean, if you don't have any issues, in other words, if there's no notion that maybe, you weren't in the flood area, maybe you're just saying that, live in a place where there was no flood, it's fairly quick. I mean, they give you a check or they put it right in your bank account. And I've been impressed at how quickly that can happen.
I've been impressed with how hard it is for people to get federal assistance, having done this for so many years. Wow, they get turned down. And then, well, you got to appeal it. Or you get approved, but you don't get any money just put into your bank account, or the check comes within a couple of days and it's quick. No. I mean, whatever. I can't. It just, sometimes the weight of how surreal our life has become can get pretty heavy. So we're watching all of this destruction. We know about weather modification. We know about geoengineering. And still, we can't get through to people. Mass casualty incident declared, as 50 plus have been hospitalized due to a chemical hazmat situation in Lehigh, Pennsylvania. Emergency officials, along with medical personnel, are on the scene and declared a level 3 mass casualty incident with more than 52 hospitalized due to an exposure of a chemical odor inside this building. Numerous employees reported nausea, vomiting, headaches. Crews are monitoring the interior of the building. Tennessee's older population struggling to buy food. Yeah. Give the billions to Ukraine, give the billions to Israel, and leave Americans destitute.
Continue to follow a problem plaguing an important state agency. A recent system upgrade at Tennessee's Department of Human Services caused chaos, leading to big delays accepting and issuing SNAP benefits. Those who rely on the help to get food on the table are understandably frustrated and frightened. This is a story News Channel 5's Alexander Cohen has followed for months, with people still reaching out looking for help. Today, she talked with a struggling senior citizen about the benefits backlog.
It's ridiculous. Everybody's frustrated.
Desperate times at the food stamp office in Nashville.
That's how frustrated everybody is. The manager just up and left.
A state system upgrade has left people waiting months for SNAP benefits, which is in violation of federal law.
They knew the conversion was coming. Why was the state not prepared?
Senior citizen Jan Heath applied in November and is still waiting.
It's just pitiful. It's pitiful that they don't have more organization.
On a fixed income, times have been hard. Jan tells me her daughter has been helping with groceries, and she even stopped by a local church that was giving out food. In 2020, Jan lost her job during the pandemic. The state also failed her when she applied for unemployment, and they struggled to keep up with demand. It's like deja vu.
Everybody I've talked to, it's like they don't care. And, you know, you never hear anything. They don't come on. They don't say, well, look, we're doing the best we can. We do care. They never say that. They just say, well, we're trying to fix it. Well, get the freaking thing fixed.
Through her tears, Jan hopes elected officials will find a way to help solve the backlog soon.
And take care of your Tennessee residents who are the ones that have put you in office. Be concerned. Treat us as humans, that you give it care. That's the biggest thing the majority of us have, is they don't care about us. That's the way we feel.
Reporting in Nashville,
They don't care. They do not care. Colorado condo townhome owners. Large HOA increase in the dues and the fees.
The budget proposed by the executive board.
The letter Rosalie Hayes got sounds boring till you get to that one part, the part that lays out the increase in her monthly association dues.
It goes from $346 a month to $621.50.
That's astonishing.
That's a lot.
Starting in April, her dues are going up nearly $300 a month.
If anybody wants to watch this, I'll put the link in, but yeah. People are really, whether you're, it doesn't matter what class you're in, lower, middle, people are really struggling. Hospital patient dumping continues in Florida. Hospital patient dumping. Isn't that fun? I'm just going to play this one.
Hey, it's Metro Police.
This is the moment Las Vegas Metro Police rescued 6 abused children in June of 2023.
Sorry, that was the wrong video.
alleging patient dumping by local hospitals. Two different $2 million plus patient dumping jury verdicts recently in Kentucky caught our eye, but what really got our attention was where calls to our newsroom led us when we began following up on the complaints. This story begins December 1st at 5 p.m. with a phone call to our newsroom from a horrified University Hospital employee claiming security had just wheeled a woman all the way out to the corner of Hancock and Ali, just off hospital property, dumped the elderly woman out of the wheelchair on the sidewalk, and left. Minutes later, we shot video of her, still in a soiled hospital gown and slippers, breathing hard under a blanket placed over her in 36-degree weather, her stuff in a bag next to her. The employee claimed she sees this a lot. So I started watching, and on December 16th at 7 p.m., 35 degrees outside, I record 3 security guards surrounding an elderly woman with a walker, slowly escorting her out of the emergency room. She can't move fast. It takes several minutes to make it all the way to the same corner of Hancock and Ali. After they have her across the street, off the hospital property, the security guards turn around and go back. When they clear, I catch up to her, and she says she can't breathe.
They told me that I could not stay on the premises.
Were you in there as a patient?
Well, I needed to be a patient because I'm sick.
What's wrong with you?
I've got COPD. I got diabetes.
So they wouldn't even treat you?
The doctor talked to me for 1 minute.
And they told you what?
That I had to leave.
What reason did he give you?
He didn't give me a reason.
She tells me she's homeless.
I've got to go because I'm hurting. I'm in pain.
I was in a car crash, and it completely shattered my hip and pelvis. Right here, I got like 30-something screws.
Matthew Hauber and his mother claim a similar story. They met us in front of Wayside Mission in the spot where they say he was dumped in October.
Anywhere. And they said, well, we can't find a rehab right now.
Linda Hauber said when Norton Hospital told her they had a room lined up for Matthew at Wayside, she checked it out.
I called Wayside Christian Mission and just to confirm, and they said no. They said we can't do that. We can't. You know, they have beds and they help them find jobs and stuff, but we don't take medically needy people. We don't do that. And
then she says she had a conference call with the hospital staff.
the social worker said, we're going to take him to a shelter. And I said, which one? And they said, Wayside Christian Mission. And I said, well, I know that's not true because I called them and they don't take him. And then the lady said, the social worker said, well, that's history. Let's think of something else.
Hauber says the next day, her son was unloaded from a transport vehicle on the curb in the rain on Jackson Street in front of Wayside.
I thought they've dumped my garbage. I have to put out to the curb. That's how they dumped my son, like garbage.
Linda Hauber said she was in no shape to care for him at home, and she died after this interview.
They put all their stuff on the sidewalk over there. They dump them off over here on the sidewalk and get back in that vehicle and get out here just as fast as they can.
Wayside staffer Perry Lane helped Matthew out of the rain and says he witnesses the same kind of thing dozens of times per year from hospitals as far away as Eastern Kentucky. He says they're often lied to about the medical treatment they'll receive at the shelter.
What's the worst physical shape you've seen somebody in who was dumped? This guy here was pretty bad.
Paralyzed. People that can't walk, that are totally relied on a wheelchair. Take them out, put them in the wheelchair, throw all their stuff on and take off.
Wayside's Chief Operating Officer Nina Mosley tells me it's not uncommon. She says they're not trained medically, and sometimes they take patients right back to the hospitals.
How can you dump people? These are human beings. How can you just dump them and leave them? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's unhuman, man.
We detail these incidents with dates and times to both Norton and University hospitals. Norton Healthcare Senior Vice President Renee Murphy responded in an email that says, in order to safeguard the privacy of patients and in compliance with HIPAA, we are not permitted to discuss specifics regarding a patient's case. There are several details to this case that may not have been communicated to you by the family. As Mr. Hauber has not signed a HIPAA release of information form, we will not be able to share those details with you. University Hospital Public Relations Director David MacArthur replied, "They appear to be working on behalf of U of L Hospital. Unfortunately, the images that were provided by WAVE do not reveal enough information to track down additional details or identify whether the individuals on either day sought care from any of our team. What is heartbreaking for U of L health staff is that we often encounter situations where patients need assistance beyond medical care. As the community's safety net hospital, the challenges are particularly even more acute when providing health care to the unhoused population of Metro Louisville. Community resources are limited, and even when they are available, many individuals that may benefit from those resources still refuse assistance." The Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, known as EMTALA, was passed in 1986 as a federal...
If you want to watch the remainder of this video, the link is in the chat. But this is going on across our fabulous nation. Just dump them. Florida, here's another, this is recent, 3 days ago. Hospital patient dumping continues in Florida.
And George Jenkins Boulevard for a panhandling incident.
Did I do something wrong? Yeah, panhandling's illegal. I didn't know that.
The man says he came from St. Augustine. He has only been in the city for about a week, and he has been homeless for a year.
But who brought you here? The people from the Advent Health, from the land, brought me to the Lakeland Hospital.
The man says Lakeland Regional Health discharged him and then took him to a homeless shelter in the area.
Okay, so the hospital just threw you out the front door and didn't offer you a ride back to Advent to land? No. That's pretty crappy of him, man. Yeah. All right, well, I understand if you just got here and you don't know the rules.
Talbot House, a homeless services provider, previously told us hospitals dumping patients on their doorstep has become a growing crisis because they don't have the medical capabilities to take care of them.
And they say that they've called us, but we haven't received a call. They tell them that there's going to be a bed waiting for them, but there's no bed waiting for them. They show up on our door.
And a vast majority.
And so then what happens to them? Oh, yeah. Well, those billions that are going overseas could definitely help Americans, don't you think? I think. But yeah. Oh, parenting. Parenting. It's fabulous. So fabulous.
This is the moment Las Vegas Metro Police rescued 6 abused children in June of 2023. 2 of them found in a dog cage. They were home alone, the oldest just 11 years old.
Every single day, the defendant failed to protect her 6 stepchildren.
This is stepmother Amanda Stamper at her sentencing Thursday. Her husband, Travis Doss, an unsuccessful rapper known as Trap Montana, is accused of torturing his 6 children while Stamper didn't call police or child protective services.
Not embarrassed to be here.
She's embarrassed to be here. Huh. Well, those children are going to have quite a journey, don't you think? 9-year-old girl kidnapped walking home from school, California.
Hi, Liz and Monty. Yeah, the Jefferson Elementary School actually let out for early release today, and around 1:45 this afternoon, that's when police got a call about a 9-year-old girl that was walking by herself that got thrown into a white van, and her only defense was her voice.
The young girl began screaming and yelling.
And that ultimately saved her. Wednesday afternoon, a 9-year-old girl was grabbed and shoved into a white van while walking home from school.
She was literally terrified, which is what prompted her to scream, is the way she was screaming. And I think that, well, it's a summation on my part, but I think that caused the people that perpetrated this crime to panic a bit, pull the car over, and let her out.
The 9-year-old was dropped off at JFK Spray Park, just a couple blocks from where she was taken. She immediately ran home, and her parents called the police.
The 9-year-old girl was remarkably frightened, but also remarkably composed.
She told police a man dressed in all black wearing a mask was in the passenger seat. And the driver.
Be careful of white vans, but adults are also apparently being kidnapped.
Talked to one of the clerks that had seen the security video. He tells me that the woman was parked at one of the pumps behind me. He says she was walking through the lot when a man jumped at her and grabbed her.
A lot of students live around this area, so
it's very dangerous for them to be walking around this area late at night or even early in the morning.
Danny Ramirez walks by this gas station almost every day. The news that two men tried to grab a customer here has put her on edge.
It's very scary that even though you're trying to do stuff for yourself, like someone's gonna still try to harm you.
Federal Way police say it happened February 20th around 12:20 a.m. One of the men wore a ski mask and the other a medical mask. An employee says the woman was parked near pump 1 and the suspects near number 3. He believes they saw her walking alone and took advantage. One of the masked men grabbing her by the sweatshirt.
It's very scary because you know, sometimes you have to go to work, you have to go to school, and you have to be independent and go by yourself.
Fortunately, she was not alone. Police say her boyfriend saw them putting their hands on her and jumped out of the car. An employee believes the two didn't realize there was a man with her, and when they saw him, they released her and took off in a Kia. They were driving with no license plates.
What's happening in our good old US of A? Illegal street takeover, southwest side Chicago. Wow, I don't know how people are dealing with these takeovers, but these are happening certainly in cities, not just Chicago.
New for us here at 10 o'clock, a neighborhood takeover. Drivers, drag racing, and drifting set fire to a Beverly street. Concerned neighbors say organizers even managed to hold off police for a while. CBS 2's Jermont Terry live for us in Beverly with reaction tonight. Jermont?
Joe, 103rd Street here on the southwest side stays busy both day and night, yet somehow this crew managed to shut it down doing donuts right in the middle of this intersection. And most of those participating pulled out their cell phones, recording the illegal activity to the surprise of neighbors.
Squealing tires and roaring engines, yeah.
Those sounds awoke Ken Jones from his sleep. Home surveillance captured some of it, but it's this site which caught Jones and just about every neighbor living off 103rd in California and Beverly off guard.
Many cars spinning around like crazy out here in the intersection.
More than 100 people with cars took over this intersection Saturday night. The view above shows tire marks still visible days later.
But then when I saw the fire, I was like, oh my gosh, what are they doing?
This crew managed to keep police from getting to their illegal street tactics. It even forced CTA buses to park.
You're just literally stuck because there's nowhere for them to go.
Neighbors tell me this crew was not fazed when cops did arrive.
They didn't even flinch. They were still going round and round when Evergreen Park Police were here. CPD started coming, and then they just all took off.
This is video of those cars speeding off the moment Chicago police got on scene. Look closely. Cars drove on sidewalks and lawns trying to avoid getting caught.
Where all the people came from, I can't understand.
The street takeovers remain an ongoing problem across the city and burbs, mostly occurring in open lots or along Lower Wacker Drive. Yet Beverly residents felt the concern over the weekend.
Upsetting. The kind of upsetting that has adrenaline running in you, and you're ready to defend yourself if you have to.
What a fabulous place we've got going here. Man in his 40s killed on subway train in the Bronx, New York City. Whole lot, well, just the subways alone. Oh, if I were still living in New York, I'd think twice about going into the subway.
Rivera, thank you for joining us here on ABC 7 NY. Breaking news this morning, a deadly D-train shooting in the Tremont section of the Bronx. Eyewitness News reporter Phil Tate just got to the scene. Phil, what can you tell us at this hour?
Yeah, well, it's a very active scene as police tell us that a man roughly in his 40s was found shot on a southbound D train this here at the 182nd, 183rd Street station. I'll step out of the way. Just take a look right behind me. Police tell me that this happened minutes before 5:30 this morning. As I said, the station has been blocked off. You see that officer just outside as they are very early on in their investigation. Well, right now it is still unclear what led up in those moments just before that gunfire erupted. Now, police initially were looking for 3 suspects who got got away, but it's still unclear if they may have been involved. Well, video we obtained that we will not run showed the victim treated on the train platform by paramedics before he was taken away. I spoke with one neighbor who tells me that he avoids the station at all costs, as he said it's very unsafe and he's not surprised by this. As for the victim, he was listed in critical condition. Unfortunately, he was pronounced dead at St. Barnabas Hospital as he did not make it. Police tell us that no weapon was recovered here at scene. As for the D-bound south.
Yada, yada, yada. Huh? Teen outnumbered by 20 attackers in brutal Times Square beatdown. New York. Were they migrants?
Exclusive. It was a bloody night in Times Square. This is new video here just into the newsroom that shows a teenager getting beaten by several people, and you can see a crowd violently attacking that young person. Police say the 17-year-old was stabbed and then taken to the hospital, and then just a short time later, a separate attack in Times Square. A 28-year-old man attacked by several people, too. News 4's Mark Santilla live with more of that exclusive video, and also, Mark, what we're hearing now about how many people have been taken into custody for this.
Yeah, Adam, but let's start off with that teenager who was injured. Teenager was taken to the hospital. Police tell me he is expected to survive. At this point, police have not said what may have started this fight, but a warning, the video you're about to see may be disturbing.
This is video obtained by News 4 showing the violent attack as the 17-year-old is grabbed around the neck and thrown to the ground. He tries to get up, but several people swarm. He's kicked in the head back down to the street.
Do we need to see this again? No. No, but I show this to you guys just to let you know things are not getting better. They're getting very violent. And yeah, government, congressional hearings that never do a thing, but our natural resources, you know, those the lands that belong to the people, they don't belong to the people. They apparently belong to the federal government, and the federal government gets to sell them off.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In October 2023, the SEC proposed a rule to approve the New York Stock Exchange's request to list natural asset companies. I led out on a letter to the SEC with 31 other members in the House expressing strong opposition to the process and the proposal itself. Thousands of stakeholders across the country wrote to the SEC in opposition to this proposal due to the surrendering of local control to elite investors, radical environmental groups, and even foreign governments. Briefly, NACs would have prohibited the, quote, unsustainable activities on public and private lands. In bureaucratic language, this is code for blocking all legitimate economic development, including energy development, food production, grazing, logging, and access to other raw materials needed for housing and industrial construction. In short, what NACs would do would be to allow someone like Bill Gates to buy the natural assets of, say, Shoshone National Forest in the state of Wyoming and block essentially all access, management, and use to that resource. But not just someone with billions of dollars such as Bill Gates. It would also allow China, Venezuela, Iran, Russia, other malign actors from purchasing the natural assets of these lands, both federal lands, BLM, U.S. Forest Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service lands, but it also would apply to private lands or any private lands who had conservation easements on them. So those farmers and ranchers who had placed conservation easements on their property could wake up one day and be in partnership with the Chinese Communist Party. Obviously, this is something that was one of the most dangerous rules I have ever seen, and I am pleased that the New York Stock Exchange saw the light and withdrew it. But Mr. Wachowski, I just have a couple of questions for you. I know you weren't involved in the SEC's proposal, but I'm highlighting these concerns because the BLM is responsible for the management and mismanagement of these resources on 10% of this country's acreage. And I can't even imagine that the BLM would think that the SEC's or the New York Stock Exchange's proposal was appropriate or that it would be a good thing to do. Do you know whether the BLM weighed in with the SEC challenging the SEC or the New York Stock Exchange's ability to sell the natural assets of BLM lands?
Congresswoman, my understanding is that the department has been clear that we had no engagement with the SEC on this proposal.
So you had no engagement with the SEC at all? The SEC never contacted the BLM and said, we're going to sell or the New York Stock Exchange? They didn't contact you and say, we're going to sell the natural assets to the BLM lands?
Congresswoman, I have to refer you to the SEC for how they go about their public comment processes.
No, I'm asking the BLM.
As I noted, the department has had no engagement with the SEC on this withdrawn proposal.
Interesting. Did you call them up and say, we don't like this idea?
Again, Congresswoman, we have not had any engagement with the SEC on this withdrawn proposal.
Why don't you think that the BLM should weigh in on this proposal that would have sold all the natural assets to the BLM lands to, say, China?
Again, I'm not familiar with the content of the proposal,
So
only
the
from what
BLM
I've
is
read in the
just not
popular
taking a
media.
position? The BLM is just...
We and all our land management work are committed to following the law and meeting the tenets of our multiple use and sustained yield mandate.
Okay, Mr. Wieckowski, do you believe that just perhaps our foreign adversaries would have a reason to cripple our access to raw materials needed for legitimate economic development? Don't you think that would be something that our foreign adversaries would want?
Congresswoman, I'm here today to represent the Bureau of Land Management, so that's outside of my area of expertise.
Well, the BLM is where we access coal and oil and gas. It's where we have grazing rights in Trona. It can't be outside of your expertise. That's what we do on our BLM lands.
And certainly we're committed to meeting all those multiple uses on the public lands through our management.
In the case of the New York Stock Exchange's proposal, they didn't include any kind of investment exclusion for foreign adversaries. In fact, the Intrinsic Exchange Group, who worked closely with the New York Stock Exchange, explicitly stated that foreign governments could invest in these NACs. They're not just okay with it, they actually extended the invitation. So I want to...
Well, what's good about watching these congressional hearings is that you really get to know a little bit more about what your government is doing and what it's not doing. And you also get to see that the money hands are in control of the government. SEC and this guy from the BLM has no idea about what is taking place, about the sale of BLM lands. Oh, man. Number of Chinese illegally crossing U.S.-Mexico border surges 500% in San Diego sector. 500%. And we had Christopher Wray, director of the FBI, come out and say just recently the number one security issue for this generation is the Chinese. Is the Chinese attacking our infrastructure. But we have Chinese nationals, mostly military-aged men coming across the border. Do we see a problem there? I hope so. So, NGOs aiding illegals. Arizona, come on in. So these NGOs drive the illegals to a Coronado National Forest, an encampment. Well, Title 8 USC 1324A makes it an offense for any person who encourages or brings an alien into the U.S. You think our laws are even relevant today? They're not. And here.
So how the government continues to do basically nothing about the border crisis, an elderly rancher and his sick wife were actually forced to defend themselves in the lawless Badlands that are now controlled by drug cartels. George Allen Kelly is a 73-year-old man with no criminal record who used his legal gun to shoot an illegal migrant because he felt threatened. An illegal, by the way, who was trespassing on his property and who was deported 7 times by our government. And now George is in a jail cell on $1 million bail while his wife is home alone on the border. And And yesterday, I learned that GoFundMe actually removed any and all pages that are raising bail money for the Arizona rancher. So when did protecting yourself and your family on your land become illegal? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
That sounds about right, doesn't it? Your new neighbors have arrived in Jacumba, California. The second group has arrived. Yep, all asylum seekers. And just in, oh boy, this is San Diego.
Dana, good morning to you. We are in San Isidro, a part of San Diego right now, where hundreds of illegal immigrants have just been mass street released from Border Patrol custody. This bus you see right here is apparently an NGO or volunteer organization bus. They've all just gotten off a Border Patrol bus, two of them actually. They're now waiting to board this bus. I've talked to several of them from Peru, from India, from Colombia. The group from Peru told me they are here to work. They are going to Atlanta and Minneapolis. Let's see if we can talk to some of them real quick. Hola, español. ¿De dónde son? Ecuador. ¿A dónde vas en los Estados Unidos?
Nueva York.
New York. Going to New York. ¿De dónde son? ¿De dónde son? Costa Rica. ¿A dónde vas en los Estados Unidos?
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
New Jersey.
¿Dónde?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. ¿A dónde vas en los Estados Unidos?
Chicago.
Chicago. ¿Y de dónde son?
Colombia.
Colombia. ¿Quieren trabajar?
No.
No? ¿Asilo?
Sí, yes.
They say they want asylum, they don't want to work. ¿De dónde son? Oh, where are you from?
Senegal, Africa.
Senegal, from Senegal. We saw a lot of Senegalese in Lukeville, Arizona. Where in the U.S. do you want to go to? What city?
France. France, speak French.
Oh, he says he speaks French. I obviously do not speak French. Hi, where are you?
Every day, new shipments. I hope public is waking up. I don't get the sense they are. Border invasion sparks migrant crime crisis in major cities. No kidding. No kidding. Well, a lot of these I've shown on my lives, but Americans are just most are just completely and utterly brain dead, and that's unfortunate because we really need people with working brains today that can independently and critically think.
It was made clear during today's meeting that local and state leaders don't have a plan in place to prevent migrants from sleeping on the streets. As I stand here at the border wall in Douglas, a community member tells me he is worried.
The economy is already on a down slope.
This is Douglas native Sebastian. He tells me he has lived here for 20 years and is now worried about the lack of federal funding to support migrants and how this will impact his community.
The thing about Douglas, it would get kind of ruined in a way because they would be homeless. You really don't see no homeless around here. A lot of people asking for help, and where are the funds going to come from?
Senator Kyrsten Sinema made it known during today's meeting that funding from the federal government is not likely to happen, leaving state and local leaders to figure out a plan.
We don't have a state budget that has millions upon millions of dollars to provide these kinds of services. And so I think it is quite likely that we will see mass street releases that start as early as April.
Without federal funding, the mayor of Douglas informs me that this border town is unable to sustain helping migrants, but he's holding on to hope that help will come.
I'm still an optimistic person and I still have hope.
Okay. Well, when we see this crisis getting worse and worse and worse and worse every single day, without anybody offering any kind of real solutions, like, hey, how about close the border? That's delusional. Mayor. It's delusional. This is Nogales, which is, 20 minutes away from where I am right now. It's delusional. And I still have hope. Well, have you not paid attention to what has been going on for years? Do you not know that this is United Nations? It is a deliberate, purposeful agenda to destroy our country? No, of course. But I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful. Good for you. I'm sure that makes your life easier, but it doesn't make anybody else's life easier. And yeah, I'm going to play this. This Michael Rappaport, I don't, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Whoa, he's frightening.
So let's just watch and let's enjoy.
All right, I'm in Jerusalem at the Machane Yehuda market. I'm looking for the apartheid, okay? In Israel, I am looking for the apartheid. I just asked all these people, not one person is able to tell me where the apartheid is. So I'm asking on this platform, since you're so smart, to tell me where I can go to actually witness the apartheid. You guys know where the apartheid is? No idea. No one knows where the apartheid is, but I'm sure you can tell me. Let me know where the apartheid in Israel is.
Holy shit.
All right, I'm in Jerusalem.
So, where's the apartheid? What is apartheid? Am I apartheid?
Oh my God.
Michael is technically right, Kurt, because Israel is much worse than apartheid. Apartheid would be like a two-state solution. Israel is guilty of genocide.
Yeah, genocide. Maybe
by the way,
people didn't know what word he was saying.
Maybe that's it.
Because it's apartheid.
Because it's apartheid.
Genius.
It's not apartheid died. So this young lady made a funny video about this.
I'm on the Upper East Side, and I keep asking people, where is the apartheid? Where is the fucking income inequality? I haven't seen a single fucking project here on the Upper East Side. I need to get back into the middle of the road and look somewhere else that's not the camera. Listen, you fucks. The only thing I fucking see is older ladies with Hermes scarves up here. Where's the apartheid? It's like when you fucks say that there is police brutality. Really? Because I was just walking by a fucking precinct and saw a black cop. You want to say there's police brutality? Show me. Just like you fucks want to say that there's apartheid. Well, I'm here. I'm here on the Upper East Side. You fucks, show me where it is. I haven't seen a single poor black up here. Or any black people at all. I refuse to leave fucking Tel Aviv. But I need you to show me where the apartheid is, you fucks. I was helping a fucking settler move into a house he stole in the occupied West Bank, and the Palestinian family that were fucking in there didn't even try to fight the armed IOF moving their shit out, okay? Now if you'll fucking excuse me, I'm gonna go have a Palestinian child for lunch.
So that...
If there is anyone there that doesn't know, the Upper East Side in Manhattan is the money area. That's where a whole lot of rich people live. Haven't seen the apartheid. Can you believe that this guy has the oh my God. Whoa. Okay. Wow. He's in Israel. And yeah, he also posts, that he's he posts food. Food. And Michael Rappaport had one of the best home-cooked farm-to-table meals of my life last night in one of those quote-unquote settlements, quote-unquote, and F your stock footage. Okay, nothing is going on, apparently. Nothing is going on, according to Michael Rappaport. Nothing. There are no settlements. And he's having a good time. There are no settlements. There is no apartheid. He didn't mention that there was, no bombing going on in Gaza or Rafah. Yeah. See, an awful lot of Americans have a mentality that is so profoundly sick. You want to talk well-adjusted to a deeply disturbed society? We've got a lot of them. A whole lot of them. And here, I'm just going to play a few minutes of this congressional hearing. Again, it's, the hearing on our border, and nobody can answer a question. No one from the Department of Homeland Security. Oh, well, all of these people are supposed to know, but they apparently don't know a thing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Morant, since President Biden's been president, how many non-American citizens have come into our country illegally or on the basis of a claim of asylum?
Thank you, Senator. HSI, as an investigative agency, is...
do you know the number?
No, Senator.
You're a senior member of Homeland Security, are you not?
That's correct.
Does anybody know the number? None of you know the number. Try 8 million. Now, of that 8 million, how many were children, Mr. Morant?
I don't have that number. Senator.
You don't know. Does anybody know? None of you know. Isn't that special? Let's assume half. Okay? 8 million is 4 Nebraskas. Right? 4 new states. Let's assume, I don't think it's as high, half of them are children. How many of those 8 million people are still here? Do any of you know? Okay. How many of those 8 million are claiming asylum? You don't know? How many of them claim asylum and don't show up for their hearing? Nobody knows? How many of them claim asylum, don't show up for the hearing, and President Biden has deported them? You don't know? How many of them have claimed asylum, shown up for their asylum hearing, and been denied asylum and been deported? You don't know. How many of them were from Mexico? You don't know. How about 30%? That means 70% were not, right? Surely you know the answer to that. 30% minus 100% is 70%. Am I right? Okay. 30% came from Mexico. Why don't you implement a safe third country policy?
All right, well, that's not going to happen. But as you can see, no answers. No answers. Because they're just flooding the country with these illegals. They're flooding the country, and they don't have the answers to how many, and it's only the 8 million since Biden. I've seen figures. I can't quote me. It was in the 30s, but I think it was 36 million illegal migrants are in the U.S. 36 million. And if you think, that number, we have 330 million residents, citizens in this country, you are not paying attention to the fact that we have had an infertility crisis going on an infertility crisis getting worse and worse throughout the years. And that's easily accessible, that information. Just the United Nations has reports, infertility crisis. Okay. And, we have an awful lot of sick Americans who are dying and a whole lot of dying young now. So, we have less. This is my just estimation. We have less than 300 million. So that's a huge percentage of illegal migrants in our country at 36 million, right? Yeah, okay. Oh my God. And yeah, more and more, here's Brian. It's amazing how many people are just having to suffer the consequences of the sick motherfuckers in our country. So, High Impact Flicks, this is Brian. Check out this load of BS. Never have I literally stated that an angry mob should overthrow the surrounding police. This individual not only launched a libelous accusation against me, he did it on social media for all to see. Of course, I haven't lost one channel, I've lost 4. 0 credibility from this person. And this person is Gregory Lessing Garrett. Ultimately, he writes, ultimately Brian may be facing legal charges for inciting violence. Yeah, that's Brian, who incites violence. My God. He has posted videos where he literally states that he suggests, oh, Gregory, go back to, well, I was going to say elementary school, but they're not teaching grammar anymore. Okay. Angry mob should overthrow the surrounding police. I have the videos saved. Oh my God, he has saved Brian's videos. Oh, he better start rethinking his position. Under California Penal Code, it is unlawful to incite a riot. Yeah. Brian's a big riot inciter. Okay, I'm going to post the link to this video that was sent to me by a subscriber. I listened to it and I recommend it. All about targeted individuals. This is with, I haven't seen Jim Fetzer in a while, but here he is, and along with Anna Toledo. Very good. A very good interview. Targeted individuals. It's real, it's happening, and more need to know. But you need people with open, brains, that open minds, that don't shut you down within 30 seconds with the roll of the eyes and, God, you're such a conspiracy theorist. We don't have very many of those people anymore. So, what that means is that an awful lot of people have to suffer the consequences of all of the crap. U.S. military tracking another balloon. Oh my God. Yeah. There's another balloon. Pentagon scrambles jets to investigate high altitude object of unknown origin over Colorado. Oh my God. Another balloon? Well, they did say that it's nothing to fear. It's like the spy balloon that entered the U.S. airspace and slowly made its way across the U.S. The current balloon spotted in Colorado that apparently was intercepted in Utah. Well, isn't that interesting? We got another one. So it was spotted over Colorado. How did it go up over Colorado? Did it start in Colorado? Maybe it did. But if it didn't, how come it had to travel midway through the U.S. before it was spotted? Oh, wow. Okay. My eyesight just went wonkers. If you want to read it's very noisy tonight. Very noisy tonight. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, view. Viewers will experience buffering. Okay. So, NORAD fighter jets intercept high-altitude balloon over Utah. The balloon's payload was not considered a national security threat. I feel like I'm a security threat to myself. For some reason, I'm having a hard time swallowing lately. Swallowing down the wrong pipe. So yeah. Okay. Don't worry, Americans. Just keep shopping. Well, you can't do that now anyway. Jury finds NRA and Wayne party right next door. Okay. Wayne LaPierre liable in civil corruption trial. Okay, Wayne LaPierre diverted millions of dollars away from the National Rifle Association to live luxuriously, while the gun rights group failed to properly manage its finances. Well, that's what we do here in our country, okay? So, I don't understand. Oh, it's the NRA, and it's Trump. Oh, okay, got it. Case against the NRA was brought by a lawsuit filed in 2020 by New York Attorney General Letitia James. Oh. Well, that's what we do. So, and Michigan. Good old Michigan. Homeschool parents fight back against disturbing registry plan that may lead to unwarranted home entry. A new registry of homeschooling households that the Michigan State Board of Education is proposing, a plan that opponents say is just the first step toward more government intrusion into the education of their children in the home. Even members of the board are not sure about the idea of forcing homeschooling parents to register themselves, their homes, and their children in a new government tracking program. Michigan. Oh, what a tyrannical state. It's a foot in the door to allow the state to eventually seek unwarranted home entry into the homes of homeschooling families. He also warned that such intrusions would have the color of law, and if parents refused such entry, officials would be able to barge in and bust the door down. Yeah. Well, we know that all of these rules, regulations, laws lead to more government intrusion. So, Maine's public schools purchase taxpayer-subsidized electric buses, but they say they are defective, so they're not using them. Oh, taxpayers. Ever think about organizing people in your community? You know, one person per community. Organize, stop paying taxes, but it's a little late in the game. That's the unfortunate part, especially when they can just print out money. Yeah, they've been doing that. Okay, so the districts reported problems with the new buses, which were supplied by Canada-based Lion Electric Company, the windshields on the buses would leak whenever it rained, as the glass didn't appear to be securely in place. Oh, so there are concerns about mixing electricity and water. Did I say that these were? Yes, electric buses. Okay. From the leaking windshields led them to stop driving some of the buses. The buses, which cost about $345,000 each, were also sold with misaligned or incorrect lettering on the sides. And other districts have reported broken rivets on the bodies of the vehicles. There's been failure of power steering and braking, which forced one bus driver into a snowbank to avoid crashing into traffic. I don't think that we can really get it together to, well, produce anything anymore, even though it's a Canadian company. Yeah, how about the Brits? Oh, here's your double electric bus. Oh, yes, those electric vehicles. How about a hit-and-run crash causes Hummer electric vehicle to reignite 3 times?
A Hummer catches fire and then reignites 2 more times. State troopers say this crash happened yesterday near the 405 I-90 interchange. And this morning, Washington State Patrol is looking for the driver they say caused this crash. An electric vehicle Hummer was hit near the I-90 interchange and ended up crashing into a barrier, and that's when it caught fire for the first time. Fire crew sprayed water to control the flames, but the car was engulfed. The driver was able to get out without suffering any injuries. After the massive flames subsided, the truck was charred, but it sparked again, and that's when it was towed away. And it happened for a 3rd time. We've asked Bellevue Fire about the cause and if the battery caught fire. We are now waiting for their response. As for the hit...
Well, it does seem like the battery caught fire. That's why it reignited 3 times. I guess you need to do some research on these electric vehicles and the difficulty putting out fires from lithium fires. Investigators fault Pittsburgh for poor inspection and maintenance of a bridge that collapsed. Okay. All right. City of Pittsburgh did not adequately maintain or repair a bridge and failed to act on inspection reports, leading to the corrosion of the structure's steel legs and its collapse into a ravine. The city-owned Forbes Avenue Bridge fell down January 28, 2022, plunging a bus and 4 cars about 100 feet into the Fern Hollow Creek. People were injured, but no one died, and another vehicle drove off the abatement. What's wrong with us? Okay? They keep increasing our taxes, claiming that they have to fix the infrastructure. They have to maintain the infrastructure. What is it going to take for Americans to get that money from the taxes goes somewhere, but it ain't going for the maintenance of infrastructure? Extensive corrosion to the uncoated weathering steel and repeated failures to act on damage to the bridge that was known for years. And in some areas, the steel had deteriorated to the point of visible holes in the structure. Well, I hope all of these people will be suing the city of Pittsburgh because they have failed to do their job. Very clear. And here, climate dietitians push Americans to cut beef for the sake of the planet. Yes, replacing beef with a different protein, even for just one meal, can cut the emissions footprint of a person's diet that day by as much as half. Wow. Wow. Well, we know it's happening. So, and they're killing off an awful lot of cattle. And yeah, what we are witnessing in the Democrats' administration of justice is totally corrupt, weaponized law used as a weapon. Well, I'll put I can't. It's Lou Rockwell. Okay. Google doesn't like Lou. So, I just read the headline. That's all you need. It's clear, it's obvious, that Americans no longer live in a free country. We live in a tyrannical country, totalitarian, and they're still doing nothing about it. Unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Vacant LA office tower to be torn down for just 30 new EV charging stations when more and more are giving up their electric vehicles, more and more are turning away from the electric vehicle push, and they don't want them because they know that, oh, there's a lot of problems with them, especially when they break down. Oh, good luck. You're going to be spending an awful lot of money trying to get that EV working again. But yeah, tear it down. Don't consider maybe converting it for affordable housing. U.S. Vaccine Injury Compensation Program has a 10-year backlog of claims. It may take 10 years for someone injured by a vaccine to receive a decision on whether their claim is eligible for compensation. If they receive a response at all, 10 years. I'd say an awful lot will be dead. All right. Here we go. This was the video that I was talking about in the very beginning. T. Lamb sent this to me right before I was going live. Hopefully it will play. It's low, so let's see if you can hear it.
All the food that's a vaccine?
You recognize? Yes, sir. University of California, Riverside has already perfected the ability to put human vaccines into our lettuce right now. Also, tomatoes has the ability to do that also for UC Berkeley. And then Big Tobacco, RJ Reynolds and stuff, has perfected the ability to put a human vaccine into tobacco products.
Chairman Clements? And is that even legal to do in the state of Tennessee, to sell those with a vaccine in them?
You recognize? Well, I'm not arguing that point. What I'm saying is there is no law deeming those that when you go into a grocery store, you should know as a consumer.
Okay. Just in case you missed it, maybe not really paying attention. Vaccines in lettuce, tomatoes, and cigarettes.
This head of lettuce is a head of lettuce. The head of lettuce right next to it could contain a vaccine in it. All we're saying is if it does have the vaccine in it, make sure it's listed as a pharmaceutical so people can get the proper dosage.
My question is right now, can you walk into a grocery store and there be a head of lettuce for sale that has a vaccine in it? I don't think that's allowed under state law presently. And if it is, and you have to list it as a pharmaceutical, are we going to then have Walgreens pharmacists with a refrigerated section? I mean, how's this going to play out?
You recognize? Thank you. This is more of a consumer protection bill right here, is to make sure that if you're going in to buy tomatoes and there's a polio vaccine in there, that you are aware of what you're buying has a polio vaccine. The problem you have is if it's not treated as a pharmaceutical, being the size and difference between you and me, how many tomatoes do I have to eat to get the proper dosage versus how many tomatoes that you have to eat? And if you eat too many, do you get a overdose? If you eat too less, like we had in the cattle industry with Aeromycin, we weren't dosing our cattle properly, and the horn flies were developing an immunity to it. If we don't have the proper dosage of a vaccine, it could lead to the efficacy of that drug not work anymore.
You're recognized.
Well, I'd like to think I'm more immune to horn flies than you are, but I say that jokingly.
No,
but right
No,
now, my question is just: is there a need for this? I understand there's a concern, and yeah, people should know if there's a vaccine in food. But if we can't even sell food with vaccines in it in the state of Tennessee right now, then is this legislation necessary? Is my question.
Well, if you have a child that is allergic to a certain vaccine and it's not disclosed when you go to buy that vegetable or whatever it is, and your child dies from that, I would think that having something in place that's going to make sure that is treated as a pharmaceutical so that the consumers know exactly what they're buying.
All those in favor of House Bill 1894 say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Ayes have it. Bill goes on to counter and rules.
Oh, the bill passed. The bill passes. Yeah, the bill passed to allow this. Should we label our food as pharmaceuticals? What if somebody is allergic to a particular, that thing? Cigarettes? I'm telling you, the moment you see evil, you gotta stand up to it. But we have been voting for the lesser of two evil my entire life. Oof. That was pretty stupid of us. Vice Media to stop publishing. And nothing of value was lost. Vice is down. A whole lot of people have lost their jobs. Vice. Vice was a propaganda news outlet and the world's most moral military strikes again. Yes. It's been striking and striking and striking. An American records a video of himself with Israeli forces. Oh.
On our way through Khan Yunis, and we were stopped over here because behind us they set charges and they're about to blow up 4 houses.
That was insanity right over here. We just, saw those houses being blown up over here in the back in Khan Yunis. Wow, that's all I can say.
Wow. Hey, Michael Rappaport, maybe you could find the apartheid there. The most moral army in the world. That's what Netanyahu said. Dropped over 65,000 tons of bombs. Palestinian student in Florida, in where was it? Lauderdale, Fort Lauderdale. He has been expelled from school because his mother, who is also Palestinian, made pro-Palestinian posts on social media. That seems fair, right? 15 years old, expelled November 19 from the Pinecrest School in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and his mother, Dr. Al-Masri, was fired from her position as math tutor at the school after she made posts criticizing Israel's collective brutality against Palestinian civilians and children in Gaza during the ongoing war. private school issued a statement saying they considered al-Masri's social media posts to be hateful and incendiary. How dare you? How dare you take a position on a war? Oh, of a people that you have a very profound connection with. How dare you? The rule of law is under threat. The regime shrieks as it throws its political foes into the gulag. That's right. They're protecting democracy as they destroy it. The poison killing our country is pervasive untruth. 13 years I have said, oh yes, everything is under the umbrella of the lie. The lie. Liars have agendas, and if you don't hold them accountable, oh boy, their evil can really just accelerate, get on a scale that is unimaginable, unprecedented. The poison killing our country is pervasive untruth. The poison killing our country is the liars. I will link below to JWTV's video on what the real reason is for the power outage or the cell outage going on. And still, I don't know about right now, but it was still going on in a lot of different places today. Not just AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile, 911 and pharmacies, and but other telecommunication carriers or providers. The only problem I have with sources that remain anonymous, I wish Insider exposes. I wish that people would just come out, because you never know what you're getting.
Insider I'm talking to, the sheriff, has given me information on what is going on here. How many of you, when you first saw this, was like, oh yeah, it's a solar flare? And how many of you was like, nah, this is a cyber attack? Let me know, because they're covering it up as a cyber attack. They're covering it up as a solar flare. It is not a solar flare, it's a cyber attack. And just yesterday, I was showing you the information about the lady who said 23 years, her husband never got this, and they came out with a report saying that they were preparing for a blackout. I just reported on that yesterday, and it said it's going to be civil unrest, it's going to be transportation interruptions. Let's get into today what the information was that I got. So the information here was that, he basically came and said, hey, look, I got hacked. He said he had to use a different phone now, because when the hack actually happened, this was a targeting. They targeted who they wanted to target. And basically he said that he also seen like trucks starting to install stuff. I'm going to read this to you right now. He says, hey buddy, it's your insider. I'm having to text you from my government phone. My personal phone was involved in this large nationwide hack. I wanted to give you an update about the cell phone outage. We in law enforcement are being told this is being hacked. So whatever they put out, if it's not being told of a hack, they're trying to cover it up. He said, I've noticed over power line companies putting weird installation around power lines in his area, which I'm not mentioning. He said he feels they're preparing for some type of EMP attack. He said he was sent something that he's going to give to me. So he sent me something that he's basically received. I'm going to show you that. But first, let's just kill all the nonsense with people who think it's a solar flare. First of all, look on the map here. This was where the solar flare actually was targeted at. So it's a lie that it's a solar flare. it's other things that's happening as well. Some people didn't get disrupted at all, which means that you wasn't hacked. Okay, I didn't get hacked. Some people reported that the power was out. It's something the military was doing during the whole time of this too as well. What happened with y'all phones and what happened in general? Because if you did get hit, then this is a hack. Okay, you've been hacked. Potentially they targeted law enforcement because they are now using that as a targeting campaign for whatever the next move is. This is what's happening. So again, if you were hacked, I would say take some protocols to probably do something different with that phone because obviously it's compromised. So moving on into the next piece of information here, I want you to know, like they came out today saying Senator Marco Rubio was a Chinese cyber attack will be 100 times worse. People ask, was this a dry run? Here's the map right here showing where people were hit in specific locations. So let's move into the next big thing. Somebody says internet was slow this morning, but worked. If you had an SOS on your phone, you've been hacked. You need to do something about that. We're going to get into some more helpful information here. Guess what else was happening during all this time? Did you hear about that the military at a specific Air Force base, which is one of the largest Air Force bases supposedly in the world, Eglin Air Force Base, world's largest Air Force base that spans about 724 square feet miles. Guess what they were doing? They had put out a release that during this time period, we were going to be experiencing things like this. Eglin Air Force Base will participate in the exercise February 19th to March 1st, 2024 to test the base readiness capabilities. People may experience power outages, limited base services, and delays entering and exiting base for the duration of the exercise. This is their official website.
Well, that's interesting. An exercise with power outages. Ooh. All right. The link, again, is in the chat, and you can listen to the remainder of the video. We've got an awful lot going on. A whole lot going on. I am going to post a link to this interview with the editor of The Guardian about Julian Assange is very, very important. You know, knowing the details about what is going on with Julian. Okay, I don't know what to say anymore. Stop paying your taxes right now. It's the only way to stop them. No, it's not going to stop them. This is too late now. We are way too late in the game.
In Ukraine or Israel with no strings attached whatsoever, giving out.
But I'm not saying pay them. Why continue to enrich them? But they've got all the money they need from stealing from us for decades and decades and decades. And they will steal. Stop paying taxes. Maybe they thought, oh my God, Americans might stop paying taxes. We've got to get 87,000 new armed IRS agents. Oh, right. You forgot about that?
Out cell phones and paychecks to illegal immigrants that are pouring across the U.S. southern border, not to mention the Canadian border, which hasn't gotten much attention. Americans are wondering what the heck has happened to their country. Why are Americans paying taxes in the first place? It's a great question. That question is what Anthony Hudson asked, and he's asking that, and he asked that on social media. He's a congressional candidate from Michigan's 8th District who posted this now viral video on social media.
There's a lot of people out there that agree with not paying their taxes this year. And there's a lot of people that like to comment, you're just going to go to jail. Let's see how that works out for you. The IRS is going to come get you. You know, our government is breaking the law every day. Constitutional law exists just the same as political law. And as long as the government is taking our tax-paying dollars and they're using it to give to illegal immigration, giving them the right to vote, giving them driver's license, allowing them to buy land, allowing them to buy homes, giving them prepaid credit cards for those who live in hotels in New York. where veterans used to live in those hotels. Now they've kicked out the veterans and moved in the illegal immigrants. States like California and Illinois are allowing them to become police officers and carry a weapon while they're on duty. That's illegal. And you're not going to use my tax-paying dollars to pay for your criminal activity in this country. In order for this movement to work, everyone needs to get involved. Oh, well, they'll arrest you. No, they won't, because they won't have the money to arrest you. They can't come after all of us because we have the numbers. So when are the American people going to stop being afraid? Stop being scared. Stop being controlled. Stop being sheep. We have a right to exist in this country. And with Bidenomics kicking everybody while they're down, making it almost impossible to survive, you need to keep your money to take care of your family. Put a roof over their head. Put food on the table. Make sure you don't lose your car. Keep your cell phones turned on. Keep your internet, your cable. Be responsible, but don't be reckless. Paying your taxes right now to this corrupt, treasonous government is reckless and illegal. And it can be proved in a court of law that what they're doing goes against the constitutional law of this land.
The reason why I say that it's way too late in the game is because it is. There's an awful lot of people who are just waking up, don't understand that every institution in this country has been thoroughly taken over. That includes the legal profession, the courts, Supreme Court, all courts. It's too late. That pisses me off to no end. And it's unfortunate that not everybody is on the same page. We've got an awful lot of Americans who are still living this delusion, you know, and even the awake people who are Trump supporters, believing that Trump is going to save us. Have an awful lot of people who believe Jesus is going to save us, sitting around doing nothing. Not getting that, yeah, okay, fine. You want to be a Trump supporter, fine. But you better get out there and do something, because you're your own savior. You know, everything has been weaponized. Everything. You know, our law enforcement, our political system, on both sides, both teams. So we needed to be doing that, not paying taxes, everyone on the same page, a very long time ago. But the corruption, the politicians, the congressional reps, in the White House, everyone, they speak a good game, but watch what they do. We don't matter. We don't matter. What happens when evil wins? I started to watch this. I'll put the link in the chat. What happens when evil wins? Well, we're seeing it. Voting for the lesser of two evil. It caught up with us. This is what you get. I will also link below to this video sent to me by a subscriber. Brainwashed America. Just going to play a few minutes. Good opening.
anymore after that. I turned and I started to run. Everyone ran. People just took off. People ducked into doorways, and people didn't stop to look behind.
But I couldn't breathe at all. I tried. It's really hard to talk.
The secret of subliminal messaging. All right. Did I put the link in? I'm not sure, so I'll put it in again. So I'm going to end with this video that it's a wow. It's a wow. I mean, I would love to see people doing this on just a huge scale. And this woman, as far as I'm concerned, is beautiful.
Hey, we're about to surprise somebody. I'll tell y'all why after. Hello? Hi, Diane.
Hi.
You remember me, Diane?
Yes, I think so, honey. Right now, I don't know. I probably do.
Diane, so this morning I gave you an Uber ride to work.
Oh, yes.
And we had a conversation earlier.
Yes, we did.
And you said that you was waiting for Christmas so that you can get house shoes and some other stuff, right? All right, so you don't gotta wait till Christmas. Okay? So I bought you a dress.
Oh my God.
Here's the dress.
Oh,
because you said you needed something to wear to church. Those are probably the people behind me. But that's your dress so you can wear it to church.
Oh, you're so sweet.
If you don't like it, the gift receipt is in there. It's from Old Navy. And then here's a $50 Visa gift card. So you can take that and get your house shoes and your roll when it's time, okay?
Thank you so much. This has been such a horrible day. You just made my day so much better.
You're very welcome. Hey, we're about to surprise somebody. I'll tell y'all why after.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. All right, guys. Another night. Another night. I'm going to be moving in about, 4 days. I was hoping to get through living here without this guy next to me, well, let's just say acting as he does, like a little boy. But I hope this party ends early. So, and once I leave, there's going to be, there could be a long period of time that I'm not going to be posting, so we'll see. Anyway, yeah. Be a force of good in your community. Live honestly, speak honestly, and be safe. Awareness. Get that hardwired. And on that note, I say thank you for showing up. I thank all of my moderators. Thank you very much for contributing. And thank you, subscribers, for showing up as well. Much appreciated. And I also want to thank Roberta K. Thank you for the donation, and Rakesh K, David L, and Elizabeth M, and Donna D, and Chris, I think C, and Bethany V, except I may be thanking people twice, because my PayPal now, the activity report I noticed was a little different and I was seeing donations in January, but I think I already thanked them. So I don't know. Everything in the cyber world for me is screwed up. But I do want to thank everyone for your support and donations. It's much needed, so you can be assured that it's much appreciated. Thank you, guys. And to all of you, good night and good luck. Ciao.